It's not just the White House race that's heating up in this state. There is a major Senate race, and I'm joined by a man who thinks he can actually evict one of Donald Trump's most visible national supporters, Senator Lindsey Graham. We're joined by Democratic challenger Jamie Harrison. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Ari. It's good seeing you.
Great to have you. We have a slight delay, just so viewers know, because you're over in Charleston. Before we get to your race and what you want to do, what do you think is important in the presidential race everyone is watching? Now everyone has just heard the back and forth. We had a Sanders supporter. We had a Biden supporter. Yesterday I had a Warren supporter. We showed some Tom Steyer. What's important tonight when Biden has entered this primary day with a lead in the polls?
Well, listen, South Carolina always plays a very important role in this presidential contest, not only on the Democratic side, but also on the Republican side. And part of why South Carolina is significant, because it is the very first state in which we get a majority of minority voters who get to have their say. And that minority vote is the African-American vote, which is the backbone of the Democratic Party. And so usually what the role that South Carolina plays is as a springboard for a candidate going into Super Tuesday. And so you want to have a strong win coming out of South Carolina, because then what we normally see is that it replicates itself in many of the other southern states that you see on Super Tuesday.
We've been talking about our on-the-ground reporting, which is listening to people, and then the wider data. We'll put back up on the screen something we just showed and that we've been discussing. If you look, for example, at older African-American voters, there's clearly a Biden preference there. Then when you look at African-American voters under 35, Sanders is out in the lead. Do you find that in your own campaigning? And what is your pitch to younger African-American voters?
Well, that's exactly true, Ari. Listen, one thing that I understand is the African-American vote is not a monolith, and you have to campaign understanding that. And so that means, my grandma's generation and my mother's generation, they had different set of experiences, different things and anxieties. And so when I go out and I talk to them, I talk about the issues that are important to them, things like prescription drugs, and making sure that Medicare and Social Security are there for them for the long term. While you talk to younger generations, say my sister's generation, she's in her 20s, I make sure I'm talking about things like the student loan crisis, or I talk about the importance of climate change and making sure that we protect this planet for her kids and my kids and kids all across the country. So there are different things that they are concerned about, and the candidates, and this is what we do in our race, we make sure that we're not only addressing the policy, but we're speaking to it and personalizing it so that it speaks to their hearts as well.
Yeah. Jamie Harrison on a primary day. Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.